Say goodbye to carpools and road trips ruined by flat tires, smog, and rising fuel costs. Coming soon is a new era of robotic vehicles whose designs are based on the structures of living microorganisms, such as the paramecium, which is so tiny, scientists need a microscope to see it. You are about to get a preview of this new invention. The enormous car-sized robotic paramecium waves its cilia to swim through a canal full of electrified liquid mercury. It's always receiving electrical power as the cilia propel the robot vehicle along. Like most folks, you probably rely on antiquated automotive technology, such as electric or gas-powered engines and old-fashioned tires, that inefficiently convert energy into rotational motion as you roll down the highway. It's tragic that Americans don't have a more advanced way to travel in the 21st century. How would you like to take a trip carried around by a huge mechanical paramecium taxi or other robotic automobiles that move like monstrous single-celled microbes? In a hidden research facility deep in the desert of the American Southwest, a startup automotive company is developing a new, revolutionary transportation design that mimics the work of Mother Nature. Microorganisms are key to this new endeavor. Out in the desert, the company's goal is to enable people to travel around in large robotic vehicles that are shaped like microbes and move in a similar fashion. The robotic paramecium rapidly waves articulated cilia to propel itself through canals and aqueducts filled with electrified liquid mercury instead of rolling over highways with tires. Its cilia provide the pushing power to move forward and keep picking up energy from the liquid mercury. The robotic paramecium does not need to eat human pedestrians or stray dogs and cats to survive, despite what some wags have been saying on social media about how microbes are constantly bumping into one another, looking for victims to devour. That's not how we run our modern civilization. People can walk the streets without fear of being absorbed by bus-sized single-cell organisms, as described in the Geneva Conventions, which were originally developed to ensure the proper treatment of battlefield victims, but also apply to the modern transportation industry wars. Before the invention of the wheel made advanced human society possible, we were extremely limited as to how far we could travel or move resources from one place to another. We might have gotten the idea for the wheel by observing how logs roll down the side of a hill. But the invention of the wheel is shrouded in ancient prehistory, so we'll never get to credit its originator. We're in debt to that ancient inventor. Without wheels, there would be no such thing as NASCAR or drive-through restaurants, no ability to boost your income through carjacking, and no opportunity to enjoy listening to your favorite podcast while trapped in morning gridlock. No powered vehicle? Delivering the Daily Mail would take, well, weeks instead of days. The exhausted letter carriers of the 19th century Pony Express could attest to how difficult mail delivery is when you don't have mechanized wheels. Members of the animal kingdom suffer also. Pets that don't have the benefit of a car-owning human are forced to get around using antiquated techniques, such as walking, slithering, hopping, swimming, brachiating, or flying. Since wheels don't occur in nature, it wasn't until Homo sapiens came around with our big brains, curiosity, and inventiveness that we could start building automobiles to do donuts and perform the Tokyo Drift. But wheels are not the most efficient way to transform energy into motion. Microbes, such as the humble paramecium, propel themselves with cilia, which are thin, hair-like appendages. The word cilia means eyelash in Latin. Observations through a microscope show the rapid wave-like motion of the individual cilia coordinating to work together. They allow the paramecium to easily get where it wants to travel, such as to find food or avoid a predator. We humans rely on the wave motion of cilia too, inside our bodies. Cilia are instrumental in moving eggs from a woman's ovaries through her fallopian tubes to the uterus. People who are addicted to cigarettes should keep in mind that toxins in tobacco smoke paralyze the cilia in your airways, preventing them from clearing out germs, dust, and other contaminants, or clearing mucus. To promote healthier breathing, our cilia wave in unity to transport mucus along the respiratory tract. In terms of helping transport humans, the rotating wheel is still the best option we have for getting around on land. But until we perfect anti-gravity technology, humans will still need a way to get around that's more efficient than wheeled vehicles, let alone walking or riding on the back of an overused horse. Citizens shouldn't need to rely on tires to propel trucks, cars, and motorcycles. They certainly shouldn't be fooling around with preposterous hovercraft or riding along fixed railroad tracks with trains. Fortunately, engineers are increasingly interested in mimicking nature to create a new form of transportation. We've already had success in mimicking birds by building airplanes, and copying dragons by building spaceships that have already taken humans to land on the moon. So following Mother Nature's design for how microbes move is seen as the normal evolution of humanity's love affair with improving the automobile. Now, inventors at the transportation startup company want to see how efficiently a vehicle can operate if it is based on the movement of cilia instead of rotating tires. The secret photos and videos we've received of the robotic paramecium cars, trucks, and buses being put through their paces in the hidden desert aqueducts filled with electrified liquid mercury were shot clandestinely by several employees with cell phones when their bosses and other workers were not around. In this exclusive report, we are also presenting new photos and videos that were leaked out of the engineering laboratory by members of the team who thought they were just sharing imagery amongst themselves on a private Discord server. Some of this hastily recorded clandestine imagery is low resolution and a bit blurry, but they're the best videos we can get so far of this astonishing new experimental technology as engineers test it in a wide range of permutations. These furtive videos reveal preliminary designs and tests with occasional failures and disasters. Indeed, some of the robotic paramecium models appear to move so violently they couldn't be approved for citizens to operate. Others have severe flaws that make them prone to changing shape too rapidly for any human to tolerate. Achieving the right balance between the number of cilia and the size of the vehicle is still a challenge for the engineering team, but many of the models exhibit a sense of grace, beauty, and efficiency that hint at signs of greatness to come in the emerging field of robotic paramecium taxis, trucks, and personal automobiles. Engineers who leaked these videos and pictures work for the secretive transportation company under a non-disclosure agreement, so they are not at liberty to comment publicly about the vehicular designs and tests they're conducting out in the desert. The startup company has plenty of reasons to be leery about receiving publicity. They don't want competitors to figure out the advanced nature of their robotic paramecium and its fully articulated, powerful, electricity-absorbing cilia. Secrecy also protects employees' privacy when unforeseen events occur on company property. Working on advanced transportation systems can be dangerous and debilitating, with reports of injuries bringing unwanted attention to the research facility. At least one member of the Robot Paramecium vehicle development team has been injured this year. She lost her hearing from explosive sound waves during a loud industrial accident that apparently occurred when she wasn't wearing OSHA-approved earplugs. This is how individuals with hearing disabilities use English American Sign Language to say the word cilia. Speaking of gesticulation, the Robot Paramecium has fully articulated cilia that wave back and forth to swim through long concrete channels or aqueducts filled with liquid mercury. Mercury is a toxic metal that easily conducts electricity, so access to the desert facilities is extremely restricted, and no unauthorized visitors are allowed within 5 miles of the perimeter fence and gates, protected by military-style checkpoints. Such protection is mandatory to preserve the enterprise's intellectual property and the identity identities of its executives, as well as to protect the public from experiencing or witnessing violent, large-scale industrial accidents which would shock the psyche. The Robotic Paramecium Vehicle Company constructed enormous solar panel arrays in the desert to generate electricity it sends into the liquid mercury that flows through test canals and aqueducts. Unlike traditional electric cars that periodically get their batteries topped off by plugging an electric cable into a charging station, the mechanical paramecium at all times has its cilia waving in the electrified liquid mercury as it swims along the aqueduct. It is constantly plugged in to a power source, receiving an ongoing electrical charge without needing to be parked in one spot, like today's electric cars, which often sit for hours at a refueling station before they're ready to go again. The company's leaked internal marketing memos indicate that one of the major selling points of a transportation system based on the robotic paramecium is that automobile owners are sick and tired of having to refuel at a gas station or park every so often to plug into an electrical outlet and recharge a battery. What remains to be seen is whether the American public will tolerate the idea of driving around in a network of canals and aqueducts filled with electrified liquid mercury instead of rolling along that old familiar highway or cruising down Main Street. With the federal government poised to offer large tax advantages for buying microorganism-inspired robotic vehicles, the prospect of never needing to make a pit stop to replenish a gas tank or plug into an electrical charging station to top off a battery may be enough motivation to get folks to exit from vehicles such as Teslas, Mustangs, and Camrys and start sitting inside of an enormous robotic paramecium instead.